Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and this is going to be a tough subject, but stick with me hopefully because there's a lot of information here I want to make sure I get out to you. I'll have the links all below just like usual. This video right here by Laura Ingraham, you've got to see this, okay? She actually lays out real truth, which is very unusual when they talk about abortion. She does a great job with it. She goes into Margaret Sanger. She talks about who Margaret Sanger was, what her agenda was. If you don't know, Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist, and she was bent on removing the non-white population, reducing the numbers of them, and purifying the population of the United States is what she considered it. And so she came up with the idea of abortion, and that was targeted at blacks specifically. And in fact, she started her first clinic in Harlem. So it really was a way to depopulate the United States of blacks. And there's a website, and let me stop. Go here, Black Genocide. BlackGenocide.org. In fact, there is a website that was put up called BlackGenocide.org, and this is one of the websites that's put up in order to inform people of how, proportionally speaking, the most babies who are aborted are from non-white women. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't want to hear. Of course, because the white population is so much bigger than the other populations, the statistics show that, yes, there are more white babies being aborted. However, if you look at the percentage, according to the percentage of the population, the percentage of blacks and other non-white babies are the ones that are really being aborted. And so I'm going to leave these links down below. I have not even put in to monetize this video because I know it's not going to be monetized, and I really don't care. I just need this information to get out there. And I doubt if this is going to go very far. I doubt if very many people will want to share it. But it's such important information. So you really do need to see this video and then go to this website and see what all they have here. This is another video, and this one is a little disturbing because these are abortion clinic employees who have come forward, and they say that they witnessed babies being born alive daily. If you know the Kermit Gosnell story, and he was convicted of murder because he would deliver the babies and then snip their spinal cords. And I know it can get very graphic. I'm not going to play this, of course, but I will leave the link down below if you can stomach it, because these women talk, there are 3 of them here, and they talk about their experiences when they worked in an abortion clinic. And so it is just something else when you listen to their testimony. Now, of course, this is their testimony, so it's not like they have documentation, pictures and stuff. The thing with Kermit Gosnell is, yes, they took pictures. And so they did have pictures. The police and the FBI found the bodies of the children, and they could test to see if they had died before or after birth and everything. So yes, they had evidence, and that was the thing. And if you haven't seen the movie Gosnell, you need to see that too, okay? But the reason I'm going through all this is because there was just a vote in the Senate, and it was a bill that was put up by Ben Sasse. There wasn't much to it. It was just a bill basically to find out where people stood. It was something that would allow them to be able to take a stance on whether a baby born alive, because it's called Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. And what he wanted to find out is if people would go on record saying that they opposed giving a baby who was born alive from an abortion any medical treatment or anything to help it sustain its life. And the vote was 53 to 44. Now, the 53 actually had 3 Democrats in there. We had 3 Republicans that didn't vote. A couple of them were caught in weather-related issues, and then Murkowski from Alaska did not vote. So that caused this discrepancy. But look at that, 44. That was all the Democrats except for 3 that came over and voted yay. So that's a little disturbing, and it should be disturbing, because this vote right here, 53 to 44, and you can go to this page, the link will be down below. You can go to it and you can find out exactly how your senator voted. Down here, your senators voted, and they have all the yays put together so you can find them. And then down here you can find the nays. Again, there were 44 of them, and it was all the Democrats except for, what was it, Manchin, and there were, Manchin, I'm looking through, Reich, where's the other one? Here, Casey from Pennsylvania. So those were the ones that voted with us on yay. The others said nay. And this guy right here, Trey Ware, we will regret this vote. The United States has just entered very dark days. Senate Democrats last night reaffirmed their position on allowing newborn babies who survive abortion attempts be left to die. Only 3 Democrats voted to protect the lives of the babies born alive. All other Democrats voted to let them die. See, that's the thing. And if you read the bill itself, it was very light, and it said virtually nothing except for this matter. And it did not have anything to do with women's rights, any women's choice or whatever the case is. And after the baby is born, how is it going to affect the mother whether it lives or not? That makes no sense to claim that it's a woman's right after the baby is out of her. So I don't know what stand they're taking. I don't know why they're taking this stand. And you have to look at the problems with that. Why is it that they are so for abortion? Well, those of us who are following Q, we understand what the issue is, but let's look at it from a totally non-Q point of view. One of the things we have to realize is, like I said back here with Laura, she's talked about Margaret Sanger and the eugenicist movement. Now, I don't know if a lot of you understand this, but back in the 1920s, early 1900s, there was a eugenicist movement going on in the United States. And sadly, those of us from Indiana should hang our heads a little bit, because our state was the very first state to pass eugenics laws. And we had a law that would force people to be sterilized if they were incarcerated, or if they were mentally ill or other things. There was a list of criteria as to who would be forced to be sterilized. And that was something they put into practice. And then we had California following suit. We had all different other states start to follow after that. And Hitler himself said that the reason he instituted the programs he did with the whole eugenicist type idea was that he was following the example of the United States. Very sad. A lot of people don't know that, but it's very important that we start passing on that information. He took his cues from us. And that's sad to say, but it is true. And a lot of people don't know about the eugenics past of the United States. I wish more people would understand that, because there has been a concerted effort by some people for black genocide. And not just for blacks, really. It is for all minorities. And this is something that, these women have testified to. This is what they're trying to get the important information out there, that not only would the child be born, but then they would terminate its life afterward. And this would be a baby that was alive, it was kicking, it was breathing, it was crying, and its life was ended. This was after it was born. And I just find it horrendous that this is where we're at. And Trump had a couple of tweets about it. Senate Democrats just voted against legislation to prevent the killing of newborn infant children. The Democrat position on abortion is now so extreme that they don't mind executing babies after birth. This will be remembered as one of the most shocking votes in the history of Congress. If there is one thing we should all agree on, It's protecting the lives of innocent babies. Now, I kind of agree with Patricia here that it should be, if a child is born alive, then they're considered a person, and as such, all laws that are already on the books will protect that infant. A doctor that fails to do so should be guilty of manslaughter. Well, yes, that's the way it should be. But you know what? We're in a situation now where you heard the Virginia governor. That's not where we're at now in our society, unfortunately. And it's murder, it's infanticide. And this needs to be something we address. We cannot sit by and let it go. It must be addressed. We have to speak out, because this is what happened. And I'm going to speak to my Christian brothers and sisters here for a minute. We were sleeping on the job back in the 70s. Now, I was a little young, so I was not old enough to vote on the whole Roe versus Wade abortion issue. I was not old enough at that time. But too many Christians stood by and did nothing. They didn't oppose it. And if they would have stood up and opposed it, we probably would not be in the situation we're in now. This is something that is abominable, that we are killing thousands and hundreds of thousands of children every year. And the left seems to applaud it. But you know what? The thing is, if you talk to most Democrats and you talk to them on a level of, okay, well, when do you think abortion is okay? Usually, many of them will say that only when a woman's life is in danger, or in cases of incest or rape. Okay? If we took only those instances, and I'm a Christian, so I would rather there not be any abortion. Okay? That is the position. I don't want abortion at all. But there are times when a woman's life is in danger. And maybe in those cases, that's going to be between the woman and God. I know there's a family in town where the woman was diagnosed with cancer and she couldn't take chemo while the baby was developing. She made the choice. She knew the odds. Her husband's a doctor. She knew the odds, and she chose to let the baby be born and then start her treatments. Well, that was too late, and the cancer took over, and then she passed away. But he never regretted that decision she made, and I'm sure she didn't either, because the life of that child was more important. She sacrificed her own life for that child. That's a mother. That's what mothers do. And I just can't imagine that these women are choosing themselves over their children. That boggles my mind. Now, I don't have children, but it's not because I didn't try, okay? I had some miscarriages, so I desperately wanted kids, but it was not in God's plan for me, evidently. And because of that, I guess this is really a tender subject for me. I can't imagine, as bad as I wanted children, I can't imagine a woman who finds herself pregnant and then ends that life. I can't wrap my brain around someone who would do that, because to me, that life was so important. And it's frustrating to me, too, to think that here's all these women who don't know what gift they've been given. I wanted that gift so badly and never got it. And yet these women are taking it and trashing it. So it's something that is very hard for me to watch, this whole idea of abortion. And knowing what we know with Q, it makes it even harder. But again, totally apart from Q, this is an abominable practice. And especially now that they're talking about, oh, well, if the child's born alive, then we don't have to give it any medical help. We can just let it die, and that's fine. That's okay. So we need to stand up. And not just as Christians, but definitely Christians. But if you're not a Christian, you need to stand up too, because these are human beings. And we have in our Declaration of Independence that we've been given the God-given right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Well, how can we have the God-given right to the pursuit of happiness or liberty if we don't respect that God-given right to life? That's an important part. That's something that's vital. And so I put this information here for you. And if you want to see the actual bill itself, here's the text. It should be somewhere here. And it's not very long. It really isn't. And it had several people that joined in with this bill. And It basically, and it just said to amend Title 18 United States Code to prohibit a healthcare practitioner from failing to exercise the proper degree of care in the case of a child who survives an abortion or attempted abortion. And down here it says, Congress finds the following: if an abortion results in the live birth of an infant, the infant is a legal person for all purposes under the laws of the United States and entitled to all the protections of such laws. Any infant born alive after an abortion or within a hospital, clinic, or other facility has the same claim to the protection of the law that would arise for any newborn or for any person who comes to a hospital, clinic, or other facility for screening and treatment or otherwise becomes a patient within its care. I mean, this is so logical. Why would anybody oppose it? And you can go ahead and read the rest of it. It really is just saying that you have to exercise the same degree of professional skill, and you have to have diligence required under the subparagraph to ensure the child born alive is immediately transported and admitted to a hospital if it's not done in a hospital setting. And it goes through and it just says that if you don't do this, if you violate this, you will be guilty of intentional killing of child born alive. I mean, this is, and here it doesn't even blame the woman. If a child is born alive and there's a violation of subsection A, the woman upon whom the abortion was performed and attempted may, in a civil action against any person who committed the violation, obtain appropriate relief. So the woman can actually sue the guy who didn't take care of the baby. I mean, it really is working for the women here. And it goes through and does all the other stuff that it has to have, but it's not very long. I mean, this is the whole thing. And that's pretty much it right there. So I'll leave this below so you can look at it yourself. It's just that we have to stand up and say that it's wrong to kill children. Why do we have to say that? It seems like such a no-brainer, but it isn't now. And that should scare all of us that our society is at that point where it's no longer safe for a child, a newborn. So anyway, that's what I've got for you tonight. And again, it's not a pleasant topic. I understand, and it's tough. Believe me, it's very tough for me. But because it's so tough, it needs to be talked about. We need to make sure people understand this is not, oh, the child was already dead. No, this is a child born alive. And 44 Democrats refuse to admit that a child born alive deserves medical attention. Scary. Scary times. Scary times. So that's what I've got for you tonight. Sorry it was such a downer. But again, important information. We really need to get this out. And so that's why I didn't even bother with the monetization, because I knew it was going to be demonetized. But because it's demonetized means that it probably will not get the play. And this is such a topic that a lot of people need to see it. So I hope more of you will share it and people will understand exactly what's going on. Especially go and look at the links that I've got down below and share those. Okay? Thanks so much for stopping by, and I will see you all later.